Hello, faithful listeners. My name is Clay Thompson, and I'll be your guide once again in the fiction room. Today's prompt comes to us from username Mazuna. A senile old superhero still goes out to fight crime. None of the younger heroes respect him anymore, but all the villains have a soft spot for him. As always, I hope you enjoy listening to these stories as much as I enjoy reading them. But without further ado, let us begin with our story, written by Skysbringer.
It's just not the same,
Ultraman continued, from where he was sitting in an armchair.
Everyone is so distracted by their phones and their electronics and their doohickeys. Now, back in my day...
Rhyme! Yelled out a voice from the hallway. Rhyme, bringer of frost, mistress of winter, and current president of the Federal Confederation of Villainy, let out an exasperated huff. A hero on a Wednesday afternoon? She snapped her fingers.
I'm here to... Whoop!
Ultraman paused in his story.
Did you say something, Rhyme?
Rhyme gave him an apologetic smile.
It wasn't me. I think it's from outside. I'll just pop out to see what it is. Won't be a moment.
She stepped out of the study and shut the door behind her gently before leaning back on it, taking a deep breath. She could feel the familiar weight of her mask clipped to her belt. It was designed to cover her face with dark, jagged crystals, all harsh lines and sharp edges, black ice as twisted and as dangerous as she was supposed to be. She put it on. Rhyme briskly made her way to the hero she'd flash frozen in a cube of ice in her hallway. She couldn't quite make out the mask underneath the murky surface, but the costume was gaudy, the colors garish. She couldn't help but sigh. An amateur, but that was only to be expected. The veterans in the United League of Heroes knew better than to disturb her on Wednesdays. She snapped her fingers. The cube melted in an instant, freezing water gushing across the floor, draining quietly through the numerous storm drains she'd had installed. The hero inside it coughed, a series of violent hacking sounds, and Rhyme felt her lips curl into a sneer. She'd only frozen the hero for a minute at best. Newbies nowadays.
Rhyme!
The hero called, wheezed.
I'm here to...
Your name?
Rhyme said.
Stop, you...
Huh?
The hero faltered. This close, their voice was young, high-pitched, still slightly squeaky. My what?
Your name,
Rhyme said, enunciating the words clearly. She gestured at the hero's bedraggled costume. The hero blinked up at her.
I am Phoenix.
Rhyme rolled her eyes. Seriously?
Let me guess. You had some sort of tragic incident in your life, most likely due to a supervillain. A superhero saved you, and since then, your lifelong dream was to become a superhero just like them.
Phoenix stared at her, mouth slightly open, as though halfway through objecting, but not sure to what. Rhyme waited a moment. It was only polite. When no response was forthcoming, she continued.
Let's see if I'm on a lucky streak. Lo and behold, you're one of the lucky few that get usable powers. You realize you have a knack for fire, and you have the brilliant idea to come here to try and get rid of me once and for all because I'm the president of the Confederation and hence must be the worst villain around, and fire, after all, completely negates ice. Or so you'd think, at least.
Said Phoenix.
Did you listen at all during class? They teach you this on the first week.
The blush was a dead giveaway. Rhyme sighed.
Oh dear. You went off to find me the first moment you got your powers, didn't you? Did you have the costume ready-made?
It was disappointing. The quality of fledgling heroes kept dropping with every passing year. There were just too many heroes convinced they were experts on fighting crime after reading a how-to guide on the internet.
So, Phoenix,
Rhyme continued.
usually, as retribution, I'd freeze you in a block of ice and keep you that way until the League realized you were missing. But my afternoon is already fully booked. I need to deal with Ultraman's latest attempt to foil my plans. Do feel free to come back around tomorrow if you fancy being frozen again.
Ultraman! Phoenix exclaimed, suddenly talkative once more. He's like old and washed up and senile. He's not even part of the League anymore. Rhyme had to restrain herself from freezing Phoenix. Oh, but how she hated that name, right then and there.
He has been fighting crime for more than 50 years,
she said coldly.
which you would know if you actually went to class. And when the League decided he wasn't useful to them anymore, they discharged him without so much as a pension or even a thank you. 50 years, and it meant nothing to them. The League is not government funded. It runs for profit, and at the end of the day, it cares about money. The League did not much fancy taking care of an elderly senile hero, so it let him go.
Phoenix gaped at her. It only lasted for a moment. The League would never do something like that.
Ask the League where Ultraman's pension is,
Rhyme said.
or Wonder Ladies, or Crow Storms, or any of the older heroes for that matter. The League does not care. But we at the Confederation remember, and we at the Confederation care. We have a caretaker rotation. The enemy of my enemy and all that, as they say, because the League most certainly hasn't been friendly in its dealings with its older heroes. One might even say it's been quite villainous.
You're lying, Phoenix cried out. The League would not do that, and you're just saying that because you're a villain and evil. Rhyme had lost what little patience she had for that conversation.
If that helps you sleep at night, then by all means keep telling yourself that. Just remember to ask yourself why none of the League veterans ever come to challenge me on a Wednesday. Now, get out of my lair before I decide I do actually have enough time to freeze you.
A wave of her hand sent a barricade of ice slamming up from the floor, a wall of jagged frost that blocked Phoenix from her sight. Rhyme stepped back into the study a few minutes later.
Sorry, Ultraman. That took a little longer than I expected.
She trailed off, finding Ultraman asleep in his armchair.
Ah!
Ultraman grunted, rousing himself.
What's that?
Nothing.
Rhyme said.
Sorry for waking you.
Oh, you younglings nowadays and your nothing.
Ultraman grumbled.
It's always nothing with you. Back in my day, we didn't sit around doing nothing. We found ourselves something to do.
Rhyme smiled, turning away to hide it.
I'm sure you did,
she said.
I'm sure you did.
You kids nowadays have it so easy, sitting around all day. Back then, being a hero meant work. We had pride, a real pride in what we did, and...
So even though we only had time for one story today, I still really enjoyed this story and this prompt because it reminds me of The Boys, where the superhero society is as corrupt as you'd think any government agency is. They don't want to be remembered as those that protect people. They just want the power, the money, the fame that comes with it. They'd rather be gods than heroes. And this is just nailing it on the head with a theme like that, so bravo. And now, faithful listeners, we must unfortunately bid you farewell once again. Thank you all for tuning into The Fiction Room. As always, if you enjoyed what you heard today, please consider leaving a like and a comment and subscribing to the channel. it would very much help us. But for now, wherever you are in the world, be safe, be well, and we'll see all of you next time.